Final Fantasy XVI is the newest entry in the long-running series that started in December of 1987 in Japan. The game takes place on the continent of Valisthea, which is divided into 6 kingdoms. You play as Clive Rosfield, who is the firstborn son of the family ruling over the kingdom of Rosaria. The story starts with yourself playing as a teenager version of Clive, having a training fight which acts as the first combat tutorial. And shortly after that, everything goes south very fast. Clive's mother will betray his father, which results in him being murdered in front of Clive and his brother. And in addition to that, in the resulting fight, your brother, who possesses the power of the Icon Phoenix, gets killed by Ifrit. From there on, you will find yourself in the role of Clive fighting to get revenge for his family. The setting, which is going much more in a medieval dark fantasy direction than the last entry in the series, creates an immersive world where the magical power gained from so-called mother crystals is the key to rule. And people who are able to use magic without the help of the crystals are treated like and kept as slaves. As always, if you're a player who loves to be impressed by what the current gen of gaming hardware is capable of graphic-wise, the sceneries in the Final Fantasy games will always be among the most beautiful you can find at the time. And this game is no exception. In some cases, it even caused some of the PlayStation 5 models to overheat in the summer, which was less the game's fault and more the owner's fault for not cleaning their consoles in over 3 years. The sceneries themselves range from deep green and colorful forests, castles and towns of medieval Europe to hot desert villages and markets that remind me of northern African countries like Egypt, but in separated areas instead of a connected open world. While you travel with your party, you will encounter a huge variety of enemies, and players that have played older titles will see some familiar faces. In the fights themselves, Clive will use a sword that will allow you to use heavy and light attacks, or strong special moves that use the power of icons but have to recharge after being activated. And on top of that, you have the cinematic boss fights where 2 icons fight against each other. And even though those fights are not as impressive as they could be, they simply look and feel incredible in my opinion. And while I still really enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy XVI, the game has one big weakness. And that is that most of the content that is optional feels almost completely meaningless. What I mean is that they rarely give any relevant story bits. The gameplay is never anything new, and the rewards are always almost completely irrelevant. And because of that, I just skipped them entirely at some point. But besides that, you will get an incredible action RPG that with a fine rating of 90 will keep you entertained for many hours.